This particular client works in the holding space. So they are a private equity firm that has a lot of different companies that they've acquired. So coming into the organization, the HR challenges that they were facing was really around how do we scale from a human or from an employee perspective? And then also, how do we bear in mind the overall employee experience? So our process is to always go in to be a fly on the wall initially. So going into the organization, first and foremost, I wanted to sit in on any type of leadership meetings just to get the vibe, the tones, understanding what are some of the pain points, and then also some feedback that each of them could offer. From there, we also conducted one-on-one interviews with everyone in the organization. So getting it multiple ways is certainly a way to go in, devise what's happening, and then also be able to offer any type of suggestions and or solutions. The other thing that we conducted was an employee engagement survey. We wanted to make sure that we were overall enhancing the employee experience. We found that there were a lot of redundancies, and then there were also some things that were not being addressed when it came to the onboarding process. So how could we make sure that communication was clear on both sides of the house? First and foremost, we needed to streamline that process. So through Bamboo HR, we were able to enhance that process with different checklists. Initially, what we had found is that there were a lot of things that were slipping through the cracks. From there, we also developed an onboarding or a new hire orientation, if you would. So that orientation not only allowed them or granted them access and visibility to business leaders, operational leaders, but then also to the HR and support staff. And it went over the philosophy of the organization, wanted to talk about where we were and certainly where we're going. In addition to that, we also implemented a 45-day check-in with all folks that were coming on boards, and this gave us a really good opportunity to just simply do that, to check in, to see how they were, getting acclimated to the organization, getting acclimated to their team, but most importantly, if there was anything else that they needed. Not only were we meeting with the employee, but we were also meeting with the supervisor or the manager to ensure that, again, holistically, they were getting that feedback and we understood where we could plug in or we could offer solutions one way or the other. The other thing that we implemented was we had a heavy hand in executing their mid-year and the end of the year reviews. Something that this organization had never done before were calibrations. However, we thought it was important to really be able to have that 360 review. And that then spilled into the third component that we also helped to mobilize, which was having a LMS or having a repository of classes, courses that the employees, that the leaders could lean into. We know that historically, organizations that are diverse are 30% more successful. So having that as a course or a opportunity for leaders and employees to learn alongside one another was extremely important. And then on the back end, we were able to implement an exit strategy. So those employees that were leaving the organization, what we wanted to do is first off strategize about those that were leaving the organization, and we were offering them severance packages. So it was all not only merit-based, but then it was also tied to your tenure within the organization, and it came with some additional benefits. So that was really a game changer, not only for the employee to have that level of expectation and also be fair and consistent across the board, but then also for the organization, it was extremely helpful because we took the guesswork out of things. So I would say that overall, those were some of the solutions that we put in place. If there's a gap in understanding, if there are some developmental opportunities, then providing that solution. And then on the back end, ensuring that we too were having really meaningful, honest connections and conversations with those that were exiting the organization. And from that, we were able to also relay or give that feedback to the leadership team during either one-on-ones with the leaders and or our leadership team meetings that were had on a weekly basis.